Well, good afternoon and welcome to this edition of the Red Raider Coaches Show. This is week one after 2 scrimmage weeks. Coach, how long has it been since if we've had 2 scrimmages prior to the regular season?
I think when I first got here,
about 14. Kofor, we had two scrimmages. I know it's been a while.
Yep.
And I think that's unique. It's kind of a double-edged sword. I think when you play multiple games prior to the season, you risk some injury possibility, but you learn a lot about your team. That's the positive part. I was never a huge fan of spring games because of that injury factor as well. But again, if you can come out of it unscathed, I think you learn a lot, and we'll talk more about that in just a minute. But again, welcome to the show. Again, this is the first week of the regular season schedule. You know, scrimmages are all fine and dandy, and the first one we're going to talk about tonight was, I consider, a big win for Bacon County, coming out and playing Applin, who has been a powerhouse in AA for the last several years, and they're making some adjustments in their program, and you can elaborate on their new coach and that sort of thing in just a moment. But you know, it was really exciting to see our Red Raiders come out on fire and show up and really showed out against a team that we have not beaten on the football field in 20 years. I've got a historian. He texts me all kinds of stuff all the time, whether I ask for it or not, which is good information. And 20 years. I was 29 years old when that happened. That's been a long time ago. So, Coach, you had a little bit of personal involvement with that too, because of some history you have with Applin.
You know, I spent a couple years over there in Applin, and I got some guys on that coaching staff who we still kind of communicate back and forth. But it was a great environment for us, great atmosphere for us. I wanted to play those guys because of their playoff experience. Kind of give us those playoff vibes, you know. So that's what I wanted, and plus, you know, the old rivalry, you know. So I think it was a great ball game for us, and we respect Coach Pruitt, you know, everything he has done over there and everything he's doing right now. He actually called me a couple of days ago, you know, and just asked me, "Hey, Coach, you want to turn it to a regular season game?" You know, so we're talking, communicating, trying to see if we can come up with the best solution for next year. But I love playing great competition. I mean, I do it like I told, you know, I say it all the time. You know, hey, I play ACC schedule. You know, so that's just my thoughts, and that's just what I want to do.
Well, you know, you mentioned Coach Pruitt, who comes from a pedigree. You know, his dad made a name for himself in Florida, moved up to South Georgia, and did won a lot of games. He never got that championship like his son got, like he got just a few years ago at Fitzgerald. And then he's bringing that, you know, all of that wealth of knowledge to Applin County. You know, a bit of a transition because of the style of offense that he brings to the table that Applin has probably been 15 or 20, 30 years since Applin may have run a wing T type style of offense. But so they're making some adjustments. But I can promise you this: people, you know, they're like, "Oh, that's just a scrimmage game. It really don't count. It don't matter. Whatever." I'm pretty sure he wanted to win that game just as bad as we did in front of his fans, and they brought a huge crowd. Man, that was just it was just electric. You know, sort of a rivalry renewed in a scrimmage game. But I think it will be awesome to have a regular season. That would make it even maybe even more popular and exciting. So, what was some of the things that we saw out of our team on the defense? First of all, I'm sorry. Let me introduce our offensive coordinator, Seth O'Brien. He hails from Atco, but he came from Lanier County on their coaching staff, and we're excited to have him, another young buck on our staff. And I think that was sort of the buzz after that game, was the offense that we brought to the table. And then we look at what we saw this past Friday. We opened it up a little bit more, but we'll concentrate on the Applin County game and how we spread things out and the type of play calling. So I'll start off with you with the success that we saw that night from our offensive standpoint.
Yeah. Well, first off, something we've preached all summer is just playing confident, right? If you play fast, you play confident, you're going to make plays. So that's something I think we came out of the gates. First, I think we had a 3 and out, then we had a 40-minute, it felt like 6 hours, lightning delay, it felt like forever. Right, so in their mind, they're just sitting and there's two ways they can do it. They can sit for 45 minutes and think, man, we went 3 and out, we're going to lose the game, here's the game, we're lose. Or they can take the approach they did, which is what we're happy they did, is, man, we didn't make no plays, let's answer back.
Yeah.
So that's what they did. Thankfully they did that. Came out, scored, I think 3 drives in a row, something like that, pretty quick.
Yes.
So can't be proud enough of that. So something we want to do, I talk about playing confidence, just so we preached it all summer. If you're confident going into whatever the play is, you're going to run it, right?
That's right.
If we want to go fast, we want to go slow, whatever it is, if you're confident in what we're calling as a staff and we're confident in what they're running, there's no way it doesn't succeed.
That's right. That's right. And man, you talk about having confidence in running. Our quarterback, still a young guy. We're a young team, and we'll discuss that more too. But he's one of our baseball guys. Very smooth defensively for us at shortstop. Played some catcher for us this year, but I think he was 18 for 25. That's over 70% completion.
Yeah.
Now we didn't throw it way down the field often that night, but to be accurate out on the perimeter and the way he managed the game, I thought was, and he hadn't played since middle school. He's took a couple years off. Scotland, Hennessy, I'm referring to. I thought he did a great job managing the games, and I know we have a couple other guys that come in and fill the gaps there, or we got packages for different ones. So, tell us a little bit about his development through the summer and the other quarterbacks.
Yeah, well, the first day I met with Scotland, he told me he hadn't really played 7th grade, and when he did, it was like a wing tee offense. So he hadn't. You usually saw him the first day in pads, but Coach, I don't even know the last time I threw him pads. Like stuff like that is crazy. But you see him in practice in the summer, and he just picks it up. You see his arm talent, he's just slinging it. He kind of gets it.
Yeah.
He reads it really well. It's just part of him being probably a 4.0. So I don't know what
he's smart.
Yeah, I know he's super smart.
Kid, yeah.
But he just reads it really well. You can tell he doesn't have a whole lot of football knowledge because he hasn't played.
Right.
But you see it every week, kind of developing more and more. Hey, why'd you rip this? Well, I saw this safety do that, and he just kind of knows. So that's big for a junior kid that hasn't really ever played in a competitive type game.
Right.
We got another big playmaker, Santiago Bazil. Really, really good player. Have him on the outside. Can move him inside, outside. Get him the ball. Whatever you got to do, get him the ball. Really good running back, Keandre Dixon. You'll see him. You'll see Jamon Ellis. You'll see Roger, one of our 9th grade kids. You'll see Amir Smith, one of our 9th grade kids. Ton of talent all the way around. Isaiah Thomas. You'll see him at Z. You'll see him kick what feels like 90-yard field goals. He's got one of the best legs I've ever seen in my life, and just raw. Like he
raw. That's right.
And a great kid, coachable. Does one of the Appling game, I think it was. I told him I felt like we were just feeding Santiago and throwing and running the ball. And I told Isaiah, man, I ain't forgetting about you. Like we know you got an athlete. He told me, Coach, I don't care if I get the ball. I just want to win. It's like that. If we can have 10 of those guys, we're running through the schedule. Like that's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
I can't say enough about how good he is, but when we got plenty of options. We got Noah Cawthorn at like a tight end type guy.
Yeah.
Scooter Johnson plays a little bit of defense, so we spell him some. He's played some offense for us. We got plenty of options that we're not going to run dry of.
That's awesome to hear. And most of those names that you called out were coming back.
Yes.
For one more, if not 2 more years.
Yep.
So that's a good problem. We're very young on overall offense and defense. Well, tell us a little bit about defense. It's that style of offense is a grinder. And you got to be patient. You got to fill the gap. You got to play discipline in defense.
Now I know y'all see me kind of on the sideline yelling at coach, "Hey, faster, faster, faster!" But that's our mentality,
Yep.
And when coach interviewed with me, that was his mentality. So we just want to move fast on offense. Now when it comes to defense, we want to fly around. Now that Appling game was kind of put in a kind of predicament because we didn't know where they was going to run, and so coach them did a great job of adjusting it when we got that 6-hour delay.
Yeah.
Coach them did a great job of adjusting. They went right down the field on us on that first drive,
Right.
and coach came in there and we got on the board for 30 minutes straight, and coach them adjusted, told where we got to get and what we got to read. So I applaud my defensive staff for the adjustment they made, and we came out and only gave up 7 points.
That's right.
For the next two quarters. But that's what we wanted to do. I wanted to see what my defensive staff was going to do. We didn't know. We know we were going to do some form of wing tee, some form of single wing, might come out and spread. We didn't know. So they just did a great job of adjusting. I was very proud of those guys. And the kids, too. The kids was locked in. You know, it wasn't no, oh, when we going out? No, they was locked in on the board, locked in on what we got to do, what we got to change, and how many times we got to get out the field, how many times we got to stop them. And the whole coaching staff did a great job, and every kid did a great job.
Yeah. You know, we talked on the preseason show we had a couple weeks ago. You know, you mentioned Santiago Vazell is phenomenal three-sport athlete. A lot of expectation. I kept saying I don't want to jinx nobody, but he's an extremely talented, athletic kid, good kid, coachable kid as well. His mom will get him if he don't. But you know, he's the kind of kid that it seems like we've had to go up against in every game we played forever. You know, and not to, I'm just saying not to knock some of the other guys that we got that's going to contribute, but he's different. And he showed it that night. He went up and got those 50-50 balls, a couple of those catches that was just wow, you know. And you know, that's what we're looking to do. We also said that, you know, teams are going to see that on film, and they're going to pay him quite a bit of attention, which they did. As we transition to our second game is against Valwood, a private school. Our second scrimmage out of Hayhire, Valdosta area came to town, and that's what they did. They did a pretty good job of blanketing him, staying on top of it. And then, again, tell us a little bit the mindset from our offense, because first play we went downfield, and that's something we didn't do game one.
Yep. Well, first off, Coach Willis does a fantastic job at Valwood. I mean, I think a lot of our guys going to the game didn't really know who Valwood was. They knew they were in Valdosta, but didn't really know, like, have they won? Are they any good? It's a private school. Like, they are legit.
They're legit.
I was telling Coach Wilder they could be in probably our region or like Clint, Chatco, Lanier region, and they might be second, third. Like, they're a very quality football team, and he's done a great job, and they run a really good system. Like, they know what they're doing. As far as offense, it seemed like we just couldn't really get going. Like you talked about, they kind of blanketed Santiago, which is fine with me. It might not be for him if he wants the ball.
Sure.
Which is fine with me because what we got by his backside, we can throw it to, we can run the ball, whatever. It seemed like we couldn't really get going. We first drive, we kind of stalled out. Second drive, we had a big first down. I think we threw a slant for a first down. Then we'd have a penalty, and we got behind the sticks. And well, you look up one time, and it's like 3rd and 15. There's not a whole lot of good play calls, 3rd and 15, but just I feel like we accepted the challenge of trying to get better every week.
Right.
We just couldn't get out of our own way. We tried to go fast, and we couldn't get the ball spotted sometimes, and it's just not to make excuses, but like we just couldn't really we couldn't find our footing.
Well, you know, I know coaches, you don't want to make excuses, and you don't overall, but you've been around. I've been around all sports, you know, all levels, and you see it at collegiate, at NFL. We had a big emotional win the week before.
Yep.
And then to get back up for anybody else, you know, plus, you know, in a scrimmage game, everybody says, well, it don't really count. You're talking about 15, 16, 17-year-old boys. Yeah. And that's, I don't care what you say, that's part of it. And, you know, trying to get back up. Because everybody's patting them on the back Monday. Oh, man, what a great win. I was doing it. I'll tell them how proud I was of them and the history I have at this school and over the years and that kind of stuff. So it's easy to fall into that trap. Because same way, it just looked like we were kind of on our heels on defense and on offense most of the night. Just couldn't get in a groove for you know, part. I kept thinking, well, maybe, you know, this second quarter. But again, it is what it is. And as long as my question here is, what did we learn most from the game? As long as we learn from that, it's good teaching moments. Yeah. So what was the conversation, you know, during that game, maybe even at halftime, when things wasn't really going our way? How does that go?
I wanted to play that team for one specific reason. I knew they were going to be well disciplined. I knew they weren't going to make too many turnovers. They weren't going to make too many mistakes. And I wanted to see if we can match that level. And I wanted to see if we can match that level of discipline. Can we hold our head? Can we do all that? That was the main reason why I wanted to play them, because they got, you know, where they won state championships in the private level, and I wanted to bring them in. I wanted to see that offense because they would spread just like us. Right. You know, saw Wing T last week, and I wanted to see spread. I wanted to challenge our DBs, challenge our linebackers and our D-line to get some pass rush. But I wanted to see how we was going to respond. You know, I got plenty of phone calls. Hey, why did you play those? I wanted to see. I'd rather see it now than see it later in the season.
That's right.
You know, so that's why I really wanted to play them. And we responded for about 3.5 quarters. I was very proud. But then, and it is my fault. You know, I stepped to the plate and said it's my fault. the ref kind of got under my skin with the spotting the ball and we going fast, and he called it. But it's my fault. I shouldn't have responded the way I should have responded, and I think the kids responded the way I responded. So sat down with my mentor early in the week, and he kind of gave it to me straight up, you know. So I got to do a better job as a head coach as responding and dealing with the refs. So my kids are going to respond the way I respond. So learning curve for me, learning curve for the guys, and that's all I preach. I say, hey, let's not get down about ourselves. Let's learn from this. You know, if we learn from it, we won't make the same mistake down the road. So that was my message on Monday before we went out to practice. Hey, remember our standards. I repeated our standards to them. Remember what we got to do. And we had a couple guys make some mistakes.
Yeah.
And one of them had to get in front of the team and apologize. And he's learning. It's like I told y'all from the get-go, it's my job to teach these guys how to maneuver through these situations, and that's what we got to do, and that's what we're going to do. And it's my job to hold them accountable. So I love these type of games.
Yeah.
You know, I tell them that all the time. I don't want to go play nobody who's going to be by 40.
That's right.
And we think we feel good going in the clinch week. You know, I want to play somebody who's challenging us every week. So that was my mindset, and as soon as I get our kids on that same mindset, we're gonna be fine.
Well, I had a conversation with my intro class yesterday talking about failure. It's okay you learn from failure. When you don't, whether you don't do your best or you just get whipped, you know, you can still learn from it, and that's great to hear. And you know, we talked about that a couple, you know, the first show, the culture that you're trying to build, and it's obvious. Even on the, you know, again, even on the sidelines when it does. Football may be is one of, if not the most emotional sport, at least at a high school level for sure. And again, you're talking 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids out there on the field. And then us adults can get a little swayed once in a while. Well, since you mentioned the ref, there was two things I wanted to ask real quick. One was, we got a penalty. How do you get called for an illegal man downfield on a running play? That was when you were jumping around a little bit there. So, I mean, everybody in the box was befuddled. Even the umpires in the box with us was like, we're not sure, you know. So that was, I'm guessing you can't make that call. It was just the bogus call. So, okay. I didn't think that was right. And then explain this to me, and I may look like a crazy person for thinking this, but I feel like they scored on a cheap score there. The lateral pass, and I was going to go to my grave on it with all three in the booth, you know. So is it true that if you're behind the line of scrimmage and the ball hits the ground, it is a fumble? Is that true? Or, because that's what they were telling me, because it looked to me like his hand was here, okay, and it wasn't a lateral where the ball was either straight down a line or behind the runner. That would be a lateral. Yeah. But what they were telling me is it doesn't matter if the ball is here. If it falls, it's a fumble. If you're behind the line of scrimmage, tell me I'm right and they're wrong on that.
I think it has to be, so like when we ran the swing, if Jamon was behind Scotland, that's a lateral.
Sure.
If he's even with Scotland, that's not a lateral. If he's in front of him, it's not a lateral. That's why if we do jet sweeps, we pop it up. That way it's not a fumble.
But again, they were, I mean, almost got a little, I had to be quiet. I almost got heated because I was thinking, no, I know what a lateral is. It's behind wherever you are on the field. It doesn't matter if you're ahead of the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage. They were telling me, no, if it hits the ground, even if it's what I would call a forward pitch or forward pass, if it hits the ground, it's a fumble. And I said, I just can't be right. So I got clarification, got proof right there. I'm going to send it in to the GHSA. But no, you know, if we're going to have a game, a learning game, that's what we want. That's why you play scrimmages. And you learn, you get that out of your system, and guess what? Week 1, Clinch County. Perennial powerhouse. This team has got a lot of, seems like every team we play has got a lot of history of successful year in, year out playoff, deep runs. Man, they just, every year they got a new 2 or 3 guys that's just ready to go, you know. And I'm assuming the old coach that came back last year, is he back this year?
Yes.
I hadn't heard. What's his name?
Jim Dickerson.
Dickerson, yes. And a little bit of history, you know, and I'll hush so y'all can talk and we can get out of here. But and I believe, you know, I don't know, Coach Brown probably wouldn't bring it up because just knowing the kind of fellow he is, but I think it was Coach Brown's first year here at Bacon County when he coached, because Dickerson had interviewed for this, if I get it right, interviewed for the same position here at Bacon County. Coach Brown got it. And either that very year or the next year, they come over here to beat us 63-0. Okay, well, you know, that's bad in itself. But it was 63-0 with just a few minutes left in the fourth quarter. He had put his second team in the fourth quarter. Well, we were about to score. So he calls timeout, puts his number ones back in to keep us from scoring on our home field. So I will never forget that. And I was, you know, just in the stand. So I can imagine there's a lot of other folks that think about that. And it might be something you bring up. Those guys wasn't even thought about. You know, nowhere near being born in the early 2000s. But that's the kind of stuff we as Bacon County fans think about. But yeah, we owe Clinch County not a 63-0 beatdown necessarily, but man, if we can just get them by one, that'd be awesome. But yeah, as we go into this week, you know, what can we expect from Clinch, and then I'll ask what can we expect from Bacon County. So from a you know, offensive side of the ball, what can we expect they're going to bring?
Well, they're be like a 4-man front. I can't tell if it's 4-4, 45. We'll know more on Friday, but they got 4 linemen up front that can go. I mean, lucky for us, they all play offense. Lucky for them, they're going to be well conditioned. That's how Clinch County is. They're always going to play the same way, and they're going to play hard the entire game. That's just what they do. I think they do it from as soon as they come out the womb. That's all they know.
That's right.
They have a D lineman number 7, Alvin Green, committed to Army. Really, really good kid. I played him at Lanier I think I played him since he was in like 5th, 6th grade. Like I've been around him forever. Really, really high quality kid. Really good player. Does it all the right way. They got another one, number 59, Kalijah. He's a really good player. Played him since he was young too. They just play so hard. Linebackers fly around. DBs are good. They're a little young. The whole team over there is kind of young. They got a few seniors, but most everybody's freshmen, sophomores. They're fairly young. They really coached well. Coach Dickerson does a great job. The staff does a good job. Fly around, play hard. That's what they do.
Yeah. And then from an offensive standpoint, what are we going to? What have we been working on? Anything particular? We're going to open things up. We got some more. I'm sure I know we got some more things in the playbook. Yeah. How are we on, say, as a health standpoint on offense?
Fairly healthy. We had some guys out earlier in the week with the COVID. They're back though. I think they're all good. One more kid I think has the flu. Maybe he's back. Maybe he's not. But we should be fairly healthy going in. If not, I mean, next man up. I'm always even if the freshman's got to play, a freshman's got to get ready. That's just how we're going to roll. But we're always going to have next man up mentality. Next play, we're just going to keep rolling. If you get hurt, we're just going to keep going. We got to.
Yeah.
We're going to try to run the ball on them as physical as they are up front. We got to match the intensity. We've been working on it all week. I think the linemen did a really, really good job of accepting the challenge of knowing, hey, they got dudes up front. We're pretty good too. Like we ain't got to beat our own horn to hear the music. We can play football just like they do. So try to make plays on the outside again. Like they play a little bit of man, so we'll attack that a little bit if we can. Just more or less just working on us. Like, hey, what can we do better? Last week against Bellwood, we kind of, I talked to Scotland after the game. He said it before I could even say it to him. He had some bad reads, had some balls he probably wants back. Just controlling the offense from a better perspective is kind of what we've been working on all week. How can we get back to what we do, our staples? We're going to do this. How can we do that the best instead of, hey, last week was bad, let's throw it all out, let's do this. That's not going to be the mindset. We put it in all summer. Let's get better at that. So that's part of it.
Now, one other thing. Last week, I know we were on the outside practicing once.
Yes,
I think we were in the gym doing walkthroughs. Yeah. That hurts. That's tough. Now if the other team had to do the same thing, that kind of equals things out. But that ain't always the case. Yeah. But when you're playing in early August, we might be under a lightning delay, and there's a blue sky because it's something going on within 8 miles away. Mm-hmm. And just like I think people were like, "What in the world are we postponing the game for?" When everything's not too bad. But that's just the system we're under to protect everybody. And this week, how's it been so far this week? Have we been on the field every day? So that's going to make a difference, specifically on offense. So being able to actually run some plays, throw the ball down the field, time and all that good stuff. So what's your feelings this week going in with Clinch County coming in town?
Got a lot of athletes. They're young, like Coach said it earlier, but they can play. We got to bring our A game. We got to play better than we have played in the past 2 weeks.
Really? Wow.
If we gonna win, I think the biggest thing that we are going to be battling is their tradition. They know how to win.
That's right.
They know how to win, and we got to match that. I remember it was not last year, year before. We had them.
We had 'em.
We had them. So
they had that one guy, the receiver.
yeah.
We had their best player beat us.
So
that's right.
So that's what we're going into. Hey, let's step up to the challenge. We know they got tradition. They're coming to our house. We got to show Red Raider Nation what we're trying to do. Let's learn from the past 2 weeks. Let's take away the best player. That's the defensive game plan. Stop the run. Take away the best player. But Coach Wilder is doing a great job. I know Tuesday practice is our hardest day of the week. We had a rough, long, 2-hour practice yesterday in the hot sun, and we ain't been able to do that in the past 2 weeks. So yesterday was good for us. I remember when I got home, I sat on the floor for about an hour and a half. But I think we're ready. We need to have a good practice today and a good walk through tomorrow. And I'm just ready to compete.
Yeah.
I'm ready to compete.
Well, that's what you want after a game where we're disappointed. Y'all, it's not we, but y'all are disappointed as a coaching staff, and the kids too. The hunger to get back to prove what we're capable of, and everybody is. Everybody is. It's exciting that we're home this week again. With again, the Clinch County Panthers are coming into town. Encourage you to come out and show out. Support our football team, all the hard work they do, and obviously our band does a great job supporting this program, and cheerleaders, and there's a lot of things that go in to make this machine run. I want to thank the fans that's been out the last couple of weeks. Huge crowd at Appleton, a very satisfying crowd last week in the second game, and we anticipate even bigger crowd this opening Friday night. And again, we're just excited. I want to thank all the folks outside of this program, people in the community, the churches and the business and industries that have continued to support this program through food and through dollar bills that help to provide for these young men to eat. They're still eating sandwiches and getting fed. A lot of times I see them, I'll drive by and they're getting fed, cooked for by different ones.
Yeah, we try to feed them twice a week, just trying to get those calories back in their bodies that they're out there burning, so we can be prepared for Friday night. So I really thank the Touchdown Club for doing what they do. I know I told them thank you at least 200, 300 times yesterday. And we have different people who feed us on Wednesdays. And they know who they are. I don't want to miss no names,
right.
But we greatly appreciate y'all for everything that y'all do.
Yeah, I'll reach out to the boosters and get those lists, because it's worth recognizing the names of these individuals and businesses and industries that support to get that recognition. You're going to see some advertisements this week on this week's game as we finalize those booster sponsors on the jumbo, amongst some other things. So again, we look forward to seeing everybody out. We look forward to seeing our offense and our defense show up and show out against a stout Clinch County team. And you said it a while ago, they know how to win.
Yep.
And that's been the biggest difference. We've had a lot of talent these last decade and plus at Bacon County, but it's just getting over that hump, looking for that. If we can, maybe hopefully Clinch County will be that signature win, that win that kind of gets us across that hump that is just, and then now it's downhill and instead of uphill. So again, that's what we're looking for, and we want Raider Nation to be a part of that this Friday night. So thank you again, these coaches, for joining us on this week's edition of the Red Raider Coaches Show.